Well, that thunderstorm ended up coming through yesterday, but we also had some snowfall in the mountains. If you see what we picked up yesterday, you can see pretty widespread areas of Northern California and the Sierras. Got about 1 to 3 inches, and then we even have this little bullseye here that picked up 4 to 6 inches. Now, little sneak preview of this forecast, we've got more of this snow on the way, and we've also got a lot of other things to talk about as well, like thunderstorms, high winds, red flag warning. We'll take a look at the drought and any kind of wildfire threat. So certainly lots to talk about today. The best place to start is always just by looking at the current conditions. And this is the satellite imagery. There's a few things I notice here. One, the marine layer is looking a lot smaller than it has been for the last week. Much of the Bay Area looks like we have clear skies right now, and that's the clearest skies that we've seen in the mornings for Los Angeles as well in quite some time. But obviously the big thing that you're noticing is this huge blob of clouds right here, and that's what's causing all that snow in the mountains. That's also what's bringing in some thunderstorms as well, and we can actually see it better if we look at the infrared imagery. Notice how it almost looks like it's spinning in a counterclockwise rotation. That tells you that it's a low pressure system, and you can see some of those larger storms making their way through the mountains. Now, some of those larger storms were up farther into Northern California yesterday, but you can actually see them starting to move down more into the southern Sierras as of right now. That's going to be continuing throughout the day, so that's the main spot that we're going to be looking for some of that heavy snowfall throughout the day today. So let's look at this low itself. It's this rather large trough dipping all the way down from Canada through Washington, Oregon, and now it's directly over the central coast. And then throughout the day today, that's just going to keep on dropping until it's a complete cutoff low, which is pretty cool to see. This is overall, I'd say, a pretty anomalous type of system for this kind of the year. It's bringing really cool air down. That's actually another big part of the story. We're going to have some temperatures today 25 to 30 degrees below average, but it's also bringing those thunderstorms we're talking about, some of the high winds that we're talking about, and then some of that great snowfall that we're talking about as well. So you see that blob goes right down over us throughout today. It's still over us throughout much of Saturday, and then by Sunday, it looks like it finally starts to leave, and a new little ridge pattern starts to build in Sunday evening into the start of next week, which should start to bring our temperatures back up to above average. So with that low coming down, like I said, one of the big stories going on is the effect it's having on our temperatures. So this shows you how far above or below average your temperatures are, and you can see right now much of California is cooler than average, especially here in the Sierras, where we're 20 to even 30 degrees below average in some places. And I would agree with this map right here. I don't know about you guys, but I thought yesterday felt pretty cool, and this map tells you that it actually is cool for this time of the year. And it looks like it's actually even going to start strengthening as we get into this afternoon and later into this evening, especially here in the southern Sierras, where it's showing 35 degrees below average temperatures. And the reason that's so important is because that's where our storms are moving as of right now. That's where these bigger storm systems are about to move. So when we combine that precipitation with these 35 degree below average temperatures, that's where you start to pick up some more snowfall. So that's a little teaser into where we're expecting to get the most snow today. But before we actually look at that, let's take a look at some of the temperatures that we're actually going to be expecting in Northern California. If we go to the high temperatures for today, you can see looks below average. Certainly a lot cooler than some of the temperatures we have been having the last month or two, where we're in the mid 80s to low 90s throughout the valley. Right now, we're in the mid 70s for the most part. Sacramento, your high for today, 76. North Bay and Santa Rosa, not even getting into the 70s. We're still in the high 60s, and I would say that's some great news because we do still have some strong winds coming in right now. So it's good to see that those high winds aren't also associated with high temperatures and low humidity. Good to see the North Bay staying cool because that reduces our wildfire threat. The biggest thing I notice on this map, though, for our high temperatures for today is right there in the southern Sierras, where you see that blue color and even getting into the white color. That's where you're getting below freezing, so that's where snow is going to be possible. Then let's just take a quick look at what kind of highs we're expecting tomorrow. Looks like we start to warm up through parts of Northern California, although still on that below average. We're getting into the mid 70s to possibly even the low 80s for tomorrow afternoon's highs. That should actually be a pretty nice weekend. Some of the winds are going to be coming down, parts of the North Bay into the low 70s. In the valleys, you're in the high 70s. So that should actually be a nice Saturday for you, as you have rather comfortable warm temperatures and most likely some sunny skies as well. Then we should start to see these continue to go up as we get into Sunday, and that little ridge starts to build in that we were looking at, and it looks like that is going to be the case. San Jose, you finally get back into the 70s, and then much of the Sacramento Valley back into the mid 80s. So that seems to be the trend. Cool temperatures today, but then slowly starting to warm up throughout our weekend. So big thing I know you're probably interested in, how much more snow are we going to get? So this is just another look at what we got yesterday. You can see widespread areas that got that 1 to 3 inches. That's what that blue color is. But then if you look closely, you can actually see that little purple color there. That's where we were actually able to pick up over 6 inches of snow yesterday. So let's just see where the snow is going to be falling throughout the day. And this is where it's falling right now. You can see some of that snow already starting to build into the southern Sierras, even a little bit of light rainfall falling in Northern California as the temperatures start to warm up there, so we're getting rain instead of snow. But what I'm really interested in what's going to be happening this afternoon and this evening, and you can see the snow really starts to pick up in the southern Sierras. That's some of the heaviest snowfall rates we've seen so far. And then it looks like it backs off into tonight, and then early tomorrow morning, we might have some light rain coming back into Northern California, some more snow for the southern Sierras as we get into tomorrow afternoon. So overall, I'd say similar conditions both today and tomorrow. Light rain in Northern California with snowfall in those southern Sierras. That's pretty much the basis of the story, and then as we get later into the weekend, that's where we go back into clear skies, although just a quick sneak peek, there could be another low pressure system coming in towards next Tuesday, Wednesday, that I'm certainly going to be forecasting on Monday, where it could be another possibility of some more rainfall. But we've got enough to talk about today, so I'll save that for Monday morning's forecast. First, let's just see what's the total accumulated snowfall that we're going to get from this point forward. So remember, most of the snowfall we've already picked up was up here more in Northern California. And as we click through here, you see that where we're picking up more snow is directly where we saw those heavy snowfall rates coming in. Right here in the southern Sierras, where again, we are looking to be 35 degrees below average temperatures. I think that map would still show it right there. Yeah, 35 degrees below average temperatures with that great snowfall coming in. So that's where we're actually expected to pick up widespread 4 to 6 inches of snow. And then even some spots where you see that purple color picking up 6 to 8 inches of snow. So I think out of this whole video, that's the map to keep your eye on right there. That's where we're going to be picking up some more snowfall, because I think that's the big story for today. More mountain snow, and the National Weather Service actually has some yellow color popping up on this map. That's where they're saying we could get over, 6 to 8 inches of snow right there. So certainly more snow on the way. And again, because this is strong winter weather, it is always important to remember some of the risks involved, things like travel, reduced visibility. But in my opinion, my biggest worries are the drought and wildfire season. So I think this snowfall coming in is really just good news for us. Now, something else that's going on in the forecast, you're probably seeing that right there. Thunderstorms possible today. It says 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. And what this means is basically chance of some hail, some heavy downpours, gusty winds, reduced visibility, and possibility of some dangerous lightning as well. And you can see where they're expecting that on this map, that little sliver of green right there, and then in the mountains as well. But I actually like looking exactly at where they're predicting some of these cells to come in. Looks like not much at 11 a.m., But then by 2 p.m., the windy map has some of these thunderstorms popping up, both in the Sierras, but also in parts of the North Bay, and looks like even the South Bay as well. We'll see if we can get some of these thunderstorms down here closer in the Santa Cruz Mountains. To be honest, I would be surprised. It's looking pretty beautiful right now. Sunny skies, not much winds, but this map is showing some of these thunderstorms moving farther or closer into the Bay Area, so we'll just have to see what happens there. As of right now, I'm thinking it's a lot better chance for these thunderstorms to continue in the mountains. Looks like there's a lot more energy and moisture up there to work with, but you can't rule out the possibility of some of these thunderstorms working into the Bay Area as well. So then and again, I would say that's also where it's great to see that parts of the North Bay, not all that hot right now. So you're probably thinking right there, dangerous lightning. I know we all have PTSD from last year, that lightning storm that came in, sparked 500 fires across the state. But where I think there's some, I don't know how you'd say it, you're able to relax a little bit is when you look at the temperatures. We're not in the mid 90s. Santa Rosa, you might even just be at 70 degrees. And you look at the direction these winds are coming from, it's mostly from the ocean. So what that does is brings in some humidity with it. Whereas if it was coming from inland, all that dry air from the valley would be going straight into the North Bay. But instead, it's coming from the ocean, so our humidity into this evening is at 60%. So I would say that's great news because that really reduces the wildfire threat. So thunderstorms continuing today. Just one last look at them. We'll go back to rain and thunder, check out the thunderstorms. So continuing into this afternoon, let's see if we got any popping back up tomorrow. Looks like into tomorrow afternoon, there is the chance of a couple popping up. Looks like for the most part, the storm has moved into Nevada at that point. Although we do have some action going on here in Southern California. So let's move on down there to see what kind of weather they're going to be getting throughout the day today. So there's that low pressure system, the one that's bringing all this action to California. And you can see at this point, the low itself hasn't moved into SoCal yet. We're really just being affected by some of those high winds. But throughout the day today, the low is finally going to work its way all the way down into Southern California. So that's where it's really going to bring some of those cooler temperatures, but then also the possibility of some of that rainfall, some of those thunderstorms. But I think more than anything, the major impact in Southern California will still just be the winds. But before we look at the winds, we'll just check out some of those temperatures I was just talking about. Getting into this afternoon, you can see Southern California even cooler than Northern California as the real core of that low pressure system moves directly over the San Joaquin Valley and then eventually down farther into Southern California. So Southern Sierras looking 35 degrees below average temperatures, and then some parts of SoCal as well looking to be 15 to 20 degrees below average. So cool day today, at least cooler than it should be for this time of year. And then that's going to continue into tomorrow afternoon as well, where we still see widespread 10 to 20 degree below average temperatures. If we want to actually look at what those temperatures are going to be, looking at the high temperatures for today, you can see parts of the San Joaquin Valley just in the mid 70s, parts of the Southern Sierras in that blue color where we're below freezing and picking up some of that snowfall. Along the coast, it could actually end up being a pretty nice day. Los Angeles getting up to 70 degrees, sunny skies. So although you're cooler than average, that marine layer at least looks like it's gone. So you're able to actually get a little bit more heat than we have been getting over the last few days. So I'm sure that'll be welcome to everyone down there, although winds certainly still a factor. And you can see how much we've cooled off in the desert, especially. Then just a couple days ago, we were still in the triple digits. Now it looks like we're just in the mid to high 70s throughout the desert. Then let's just take a quick peek at what we're going to be expecting for our weekend. Again, San Joaquin Valley starts to get a little bit warmer, but still below average, just in the low 80s. Los Angeles, you look like you're cooling down tomorrow with your high just getting up to 66 degrees and a 61 in San Diego. Along the central coast too, it's looking cool for your Saturday, just getting into the high 50s to low 60s for your daytime highs on Saturday. Then if we look at Sunday, that's where we start to warm back up again. That's where the low has moved into Nevada, moved into Arizona, and then a little ridge starts to take its place. So San Joaquin Valley gets back into the mid 80s, desert gets back into the low 90s, and then places like LA get back into the mid 70s to possibly even low 80s in some places like Riverside. So Saturday, cool. Sunday, starting to warm back up again. But we also saw the possibility of some of those thunderstorms pushing into Central and Southern California, and it looks like that is a possibility today. If we zoom in here, we can see some of those thunderstorms popping up just between San Luis Obispo and Bakersfield into this evening. Again, look how cool those temps are. And at a time when it really should be the warmest part of your day, San Luis Obispo, you're just getting up to 75 degrees. So certainly a cool day along the central coast there. But you can see some of these thunderstorms working their way into Central and Southern California, although certainly not as widespread as they are looking in Northern California. As we look at tomorrow afternoon, looks like there's a chance of some of those thunderstorms moving in just north of Los Angeles and San Bernardino, up in the mountains where we get some more of that instability and energy. But overall, I'd say that's looking pretty minimal, as certainly compared to what we were seeing in NorCal. So if we actually look at the rain that we're expecting to accumulate, you can see where the model had those thunderstorms coming in. Looks like we could get 0.1 to maybe 0.3 inches of rain just right there, but certainly not widespread. It looks like there is somewhat widespread areas where we get maybe 0.01 inches of rain, but I'd say not really anything to get too excited about, and certainly not anything that's going to be putting a dent in the drought. So don't think that's the big story for Southern California. I think the big story is the gusty winds that are coming in. You can see peak gusts up to 40 to 60 miles per hour. So that's the big story right there. That's a lot more significant than 0.1 inches of rain. So if we want to actually look at some of these winds, we can check out the map. We'll just start at what's going on right now, and you can see why some of those high wind warnings and even red flag warnings are in place. You can see some of those winds into the low 50 miles per hour, up to 60 mile per hour gusts. And then the key spot that I've really been watching is Santa Barbara area, because that's where it's coming in this northerly direction. That's where it drops over the San Ynez Mountains. And then when it drops into Santa Barbara, it heats up, it brings some dry air with it. So I even saw one video of a small fire going on in Santa Barbara. I'll have to stay updated with that one, but I believe, I don't want to say any information about that fire yet. If you are in that area, be sure to stay updated with your local resources. But there is some good news on the way. While we have that 50 and 60 mile per hour gusts throughout the day today, it seems to be calming down just a little bit as we get into the weekend. Looking at Saturday afternoon, it's certainly still on the windy side. We're still getting some gusts up to 30 to 40 miles per hour, but it's certainly not the 50 to 60, as you can see those move into Arizona and New Mexico. So that low pressure system, you can actually see it right there, moving out of California as we get into Saturday. So winds, still the big factor for Southern California. You can see that based on the high wind warnings that are in place over places like Santa Barbara and much of Southern California. And then we do have that one red flag warning in place. The reason that they have a red flag and the coast doesn't, I believe really comes down to the direction these winds are coming from. If you look at the direction, it's in an onshore flow. So what that does is it actually brings in some of that moisture from the coast. You can really see how this works right here. This is getting into Friday evening. Since these winds are coming from the ocean, you can actually see it pushing that moisture all the way above San Bernardino. But you notice the winds aren't strong enough to push that ocean moisture all the way into the far southeastern parts of the state. So that's where our humidities are still in the teens. So that's why there's still that somewhat threat for a wildfire. We still have some high winds in those locations, but that's being mixed with some humidities in the low to mid-teens. So that's why we have that red flag warning in place there. But overall, I'd say great news for our coastal cities. Because of the direction these winds are coming from, that's reducing the wildfire threat. Otherwise, I would certainly be much more concerned about these 50 to 60 mile per hour winds, but the direction's looking good, moisture's looking good, and our fuel moistures are looking good as well, because we have had that persistent marine layer over the last few days, especially over places like LA and San Bernardino. So again, high winds throughout SoCal, red flag warning in place there, but I think the big story is that snowstorm coming in, and the reason I would just say that the forecast is good news throughout the day today is because when you look at the drought, it's certainly not looking good throughout California. We've got extreme drought through much of the state, even more of the state popping up as that exceptional drought category. So the fact that this really random, anomalous, out of the ordinary storm is coming in and bringing 4 to 6 inches to much of Northern California and the Sierras, and even 6 to 8 inches where you see that purple color, I would say that's some great news. I certainly wasn't expecting to see another big storm like this, and it looks like there's the possibility of another little low pressure system moving in towards the start of next week. So overall, I'd say good news in the forecast today. Hopefully some of this good news continues, and I hope you have a great weekend and enjoy your nice sunny day today if you're in the Bay Area. If you're in the mountains, I hope you enjoy that great new mountain snow building in. So hope everyone has a good weekend, and thank you for watching.